We know Atlanta's cap reality, and we know what they need. So now the fun part. How do you actually build this roster? Because there's more than one path, and the one they pick decides whether this team is a fun playoff team or a real contender. Let me lay out the realistic scenarios and the one I'd run. Here's the plan. 3 realistic roster paths. Scenario A, continuity plus a creator. Scenario B, swing for a second star. Scenario C, full patience. For each, what it costs, what it gets, and the risk. Then my verdict on the smartest path for where this team actually is. The roster facts are verified. The scenarios are my projections. Let's build. This is Game is Culture. Quick thing before we build. If you like roster construction broken down with real trade and cap logic, subscribe. It's free and it helps a ton. Now, Scenario A. Scenario A, continuity plus a creator. The first path is the clean one. Keep the young core, keep the picks, and spend the cap room and mid-level on the one thing they're missing. A starting caliber lead guard who can run the half-court offense. You don't blow anything up. You add the missing piece to a 46-win team and let Jalen Johnson and the young players take another leap. Low risk, real upside. What does that get them? Realistically, a jump from the 6th seed toward the top 4 in the East, a team that's now good on both ends with a real half-court answer. The ceiling isn't a title next year, but the floor is high, the books stay clean, and they keep every asset to swing bigger later if a star shakes loose. It's the patient, high-floor play. Scenario B, swing for a second star, the aggressive path. Take the cap space, the tradable picks, and a young player and package them to go get an established second star to pair with Johnson. This is the move you make if you believe Johnson is a true number 1 and the East window is open right now. It turns a fun playoff team into a genuine top of the conference threat in one summer. But the cost is real. You drain the asset cupboard and you bet the future on Johnson being a true franchise centerpiece, which he hasn't yet proven at the very highest level. If the star fits and Johnson keeps rising, it's brilliant. If either piece disappoints, you're capped out with no picks, the worst place in the league to be. High ceiling, low floor. Scenario C, full patience. In the third path, do almost nothing big, make only cheap, short additions, keep all the cap space in every pick, and bet entirely on internal growth from Johnson and the young core. The upside is maximum flexibility and a shot at a bigger star down the line. The downside is you waste a year of a cheap, ascending Johnson, and good young teams that stand still can stagnate. Safe, but possibly too safe. Quick halftime note, if you want the verdict on every team's best path this summer, subscribe, it's free. Now let's put the 3 side by side. So stack them up. Scenario A plus a creator, high floor, keeps optionality, modest ceiling. Scenario B, swing for a star, highest ceiling but it drains the future and bets on Johnson. Scenario C, patience, max flexibility but risks wasting a cheap star's prime year. 3 very different bets on the same roster. Put rough win projections on it. Scenario A, add a creator, lands them somewhere around the high 40s to low 50s in wins. A comfortable top 6 and a real shot at top 4. Scenario B, swing for a star, has the highest ceiling, a 55 win threat, but also the widest range because if it misses, this team could slide back toward the play-in. Scenario C, patience, mostly hold serve around where they already are. Higher ceiling means higher variance. And the smartest version isn't picking one and locking in, it's sequencing them. Step 1, this summer add the creator and stay clear of the aprons. Step 2, through the season, watch whether Johnson takes the leap to a true number 1. Step 3, at the deadline or next summer, if he has and a star is available, cash the chips you protected. The paths aren't rivals, they're a timeline. The verdict? My call? Scenario A, with a loaded gun. Sign the lead creator, push for a top 4 seed, and keep the picks. Because that lets you watch Johnson and the young core for one more year before betting the franchise on them. If a real star becomes available mid-season and Johnson has clearly leveled up, you still have everything you need to pivot to scenario B. You don't have to choose between patient and aggressive. You can earn the right to be aggressive. Think of it like this. Scenario A buys you a better team and more information without spending a single asset asset you can't get back. Then the star swing in scenario B becomes a decision you make with proof, not a prayer you make on potential. That sequence, add now, evaluate, then strike, is how the smartest front offices turn a good young team into a great one. And the logic is about leverage. Atlanta is the rare team that doesn't have to gamble because their best player is cheap and their books are clean. Teams that swing big out of desperation get fleeced. Teams that swing from a position of strength with information and assets win those trades. Atlanta should make the league come to them, not the other way around. There's also a roster mechanics reason to favor the patient path. Atlanta's young players are cheap right now, which is exactly what keeps the books clean. The moment you trade 3 or 4 of them plus picks for a star, you not only thin the depth, you often have to backfill those rotation spots with minimum contracts. So a star trade can quietly make the supporting cast worse, even as the top end gets better. Scenario A avoids that trap entirely. You upgrade the top without gutting the middle. And zoom out on the franchise picture. A year ago, Atlanta was a capped out bottom 10 defense tied to one expensive guard. Today, they're a top 10 defense, an elite shooting team, and a flexible playoff club built around a cheap ascending star. That is a dramatic turnaround, and it earns them the right to be picky. Teams in that spot should make decisions from confidence, not panic. The worst thing they could do is rush. Where could I be wrong? If the front office is on a short clock, or if ownership wants a splash now, scenario B's aggression becomes the mandate, and there are worse bets than a second star next to a two-way forward in his prime. But for pure value, patience plus one smart creator is the highest expected outcome. That's the path I'd run. So that's the full picture for Atlanta. Add a creator, swing for a star, or stay patient. 3 real paths for a flexible young team that finally controls its own future. Which one would you run? That wraps the Hawks. Drop your build below. And we are so close to 1,000 subs, so subscribe to stay up to date.